Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video with me, Adriana. If you're new here, welcome. If you already have visited some of my previous videos, then thank you for doing so, and I hope you're enjoying the content so far. As always, please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy the content and you do want to stick around for more. I'm bringing you something a little bit different today. So I'm not sure if you've seen my previous video, but in my previous video, I was showing you how I attempted to get my curls back because your girls experienced heat damage before, and trust me, it ain't pretty. So this time around, I wanted to make sure that I was taking the necessary steps to try and reduce the likelihood of me getting heat damage. I change my hairstyle very frequently, so I was getting really bored of just having my natural curls and I wanted to spice things up. So I thought, you know what, let me straighten my hair. But then the worry is when you do that your curls are not going to come back. So today I thought I'd do just a short video to share with you all some tips that I used to help reduce the likelihood of getting heat damage. So if you're interested in finding out more, then definitely keep watching. So I'm going to start off with a very simple and easy technique that you can use to try and reduce the likelihood of getting heat damage after straightening your hair or just using any form of heat. Try to use a heat protectant spray. I say try, but I mean use a heat protectant spray. This for me has been a game changer and I feel like it really does make a difference. So the one that I use is the Tresemme heat protectant spray. I just think it works really well. I really enjoy the smell of it and I just like using it. This is probably the only heat protectant spray I've used more recently. I have also bought this Got2b heat protectant spray as well, but I haven't got around to using it yet. So I'll let you know what that's like once I do eventually use it. But at the moment, Tresemme is my go-to. You also want to make sure that you don't saturate your hair in it because what you don't want is your hair to be too wet. Just apply a small amount, a few spritz, and just make sure you're covering the entirety of your hair and you should be fine. So another thing that I would say is really important is ensuring that your hair is thoroughly detangled before you even start blow drying your hair. I think it's so important to ensure that you make this process as easy as possible because there's nothing worse than trying to blow dry and straighten your hair when your hair is knotty, tangled, and yeah, just don't do it. And I promise you, it's just gonna help not just make the process easier, but it's also going to mean less passes. When you are using your straighteners, it's going to make a difference. So I definitely think it's important to also consider that. I've watched a lot of videos to see how I myself can help to reduce my heat damage when I do straighten my hair. And one of the things that came up quite a lot and I've found to be really useful as well is blow drying your hair well. Yes, you might blow dry your hair, but the quality of that blow dry, I get it, how much time you have, the quality of your blow dryer, all of these factors are going to have an impact on how straight your hair gets after blow drying, right? But think of it like this. If you blow dry your hair and get your hair as straight as possible through that process, then when you come on to straightening, it's just going to mean, again, less passes and potentially less heat damage. So that's my third tip. So those were a few points that I wanted to touch on for sort of like the preparation process for straightening your hair. But now I kind of want to go into the actual process and some steps you can take there to try and reduce the likelihood of getting heat damage too. I feel like I'm saying that sentence over and over again, but that is the point of this video. Back in the day when I didn't really know what I was doing with my hair, but I was still really just fascinated with black hair, I would always use oil before straightening my hair. I thought it would help to give me a better outcome after straightening. When in actual fact, what I've come to learn is that oil is probably not going to help. If anything, it's going to increase your likelihood of getting heat damage because your hair is going to get hotter from the use of that oil. Not just that, but the longevity of your straightened hair as well is not going to be that great because your hair is going to be greasy. You're going to want to wash it sooner. So actually, I would say less products is more important. My point is, try not to use oil prior to straightening your hair. I've noticed a massive difference since I've stopped doing that, and you've seen the results from my previous video. You know, that's a technique that I did use there and it worked. So that's something that I plan to continue to do. Obviously, these tips you don't have to take on board. It's just my experience and some of the research that I've done that I want to share with you all, and hopefully it will help some of you out there. When you're straightening your hair, please, 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 I know it's tiring. I know it takes forever. I know you just want to be done, but please try to work in small sections. Separate your hair into really small sections, because what that's going to do is, again, reduce the likelihood of you needing to use a lot of passes when using the straightening iron on your hair. It's also going to ensure that you get a really good result at the end, more than likely. And again, I think it just makes the process a lot easier. Generally speaking, I always section my hair into 4 sections anyway, but then break that down even further and just try and literally make sure your sections are maybe about this big, even smaller if you can. I know it sounds drastic, but it really helps. That then brings me on nicely to my next point, which is to make sure you use your flat iron on a low heat. I know how tempting it is to turn that thing all the way up. I know, but it's not gonna do you any favors. I was doing some research and it's recommended that your flat iron goes up to the heat 170, roughly. Obviously, everyone's got different views on that, but that's kind of what I stick to now. And although at the end you might not get the straightest outcome on your hair, I don't mind it, because the thing is, it's going to benefit me in the long run because I'm not going to have heat damage, or the heat damage isn't going to be that drastic if I do have heat damage. So please try and keep your flat irons on a low heat when you are straightening your hair. Thanks. The next tip I wanted to share with you all, I've kind of already spoke about a little bit. So passes. When you are straightening your hair, try not to use too many passes. Don't be going over that same section again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Honestly, 1 to 3 passes I feel like should be more than enough. Making sure you just start all the way from the root to the end, and trying not to hold it onto your hair for too long as well. I know this is like tip overload, but just going slow, but not like ridiculously slow, not like snail's pace. Go slow with it, because you do want to make sure you are straightening the hair effectively, but also be mindful, the longer you're leaving it on your hair, the more it is burning your hair essentially. So try and be mindful of that. I would say if you can do it in one pass, amazing. I personally can't, because I find that virtually impossible. I feel like the only way you'd be able to do that is if your iron is on a really high heat. The lower your iron is heat-wise, I feel like the more passes you are going to need. But I'd say max 3. I would be aiming not to do any more than that for sure. And remember, I am not a hair professional. These are just my tips based on my own experience as a natural girly. So don't come for me in the comments. I'm just adding my little 2 pence, okay? And hopefully, you know, like I said earlier on in this video, it will help somebody out there. To summarize this video, I wanted to speak a little bit about the aftercare, because I think as well that's so important, and definitely also plays a big part in whether you're going to end up damaging your hair or not. So when I say aftercare, I'm talking about how you look after your hair once it is straight. Once your hair is straight, don't touch it up, okay? You've already straightened your hair, so leave it now. What you don't want to do is add even more heat, because you've already added heat to get your hair straight, and then now you're gonna go in and touch up those other areas that are getting a little bit puffy, you know, getting a little bit curly, just not looking how you need them to look. But don't do it. I know the temptation is always there. Trust me, I've been there. When I used to wear weaves, I would always want to touch up this little section here. And honestly, my hair was fried from doing that. So if you can avoid touching up your hair once it is straight, I would 15 out of 10 recommend doing that. Some of the ways that you can avoid doing that is by avoiding using excess products, which is actually my next point. Don't weigh down your hair with products. Once your hair is straight, let it breathe. The more products you add to it means it's not going to last as long, because you're going to want to go and wash your hair because your hair is going to be weighed down. It's going to be greasy. It's potentially going to have flakes. Only use the products that you want to use to help keep your hair healthy, shiny, to feed your hair. Don't use anything excess if you don't have to. That's going to help to keep your hair straighter for longer, which is going to mean that you're not going to need to do all these touch-ups from adding products. I think they just work hand in hand, these 2 points. And so I would definitely ensure that you do that. And that brings me nicely onto our final point, which is to make sure that you preserve your straightened hair. Wrap your hair before you go to bed. I know, it's just another thing on the list of things to do, and that list just never ends. But I promise you, wrap your hair, because longevity, less touch-ups are going to be needed. Wrap your hair. Protect your hair. Look after your hair. Use something satin. When you're at the gym, cover your hair. Don't remove that wrap until your hair is dry. Just do these little steps to help reduce the likelihood of you having to use more heat to try and keep your hair straight. Once you get it straight, just let it be. And I feel like with doing all of these tips, you'll be able to reduce the likelihood of you getting heat damage. I recently straightened my hair and I was able to avoid heat damage. I'm not sure if you guys have checked out that video as yet, but if you haven't, then definitely go and check that out. It's the video before this one, so that helps. So go and check that out. And I really hope these tips help somebody out there. I know how difficult it is having heat damage because I've been there. I've done the big chop. I've done all of that good stuff. So now I'm on a much healthier journey with my hair, and I love that for me. So I hope you took something away from this video. If you like the hair videos and want more of those coming, then definitely let me know down in the comment section. I know firsthand how challenging it can be to look after your natural hair. It's not easy. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes patience. But if you get into a good routine and you do your research, you follow tips to help keep your hair healthy, then it's a beautiful process. Yeah, I'm just really glad I went on my natural hair journey. I've learned so much, I've grown so much, and no doubt there's still so much for me to learn. I don't know everything, but all I can speak on is my own personal experience and things that have worked for me. If you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to show me some love in whatever way you please. And I shall see you in the next one.